I'd like to thank our reader, Robin Vi Carpenter Briscoe, for the wonderful reading. She always does such a great job with so much energy. And thanks also to the Chariot Duo, Jesse and Amy, as well as our CSL music team for our beautiful music today. Today, we are continuing on our wonderful 2023 spiritual journey in our series on life, love, and the pursuit of happiness according to the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. We're exploring friendships and relationships. And Rev Larry King is here to give us the message today. We're on week 3 of our journey and still have plenty of time to discover who we are and what has meaning to us as we search for where our home lies. Each week independent, and you always walk away with some tools so you can delve more deeply into understanding your life and what brings you joy. Before I turn it over to Reverend Larry, here's your question for the week. What's the one choice you might make today to discover what qualities you see as important in friendships? To be more authentically yourself with friends and to let your friends know you love them. One more time. What is the one choice you might make today to discover what qualities you see as important in friendships, to be more authentically yourself with friends, and to let your friends know you love them?
Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to another edition of The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. Thanks to Reverend Larry, the other Reverend Larry, for inviting me to take part in this series. I'm Reverend Larry King. I live out in Oregon, and it's my pleasure to be with you today. So in the teaser that you may have heard about this particular Sunday talk, I teased you with a question. What does friendship mean to you? Well, the foursome in the book, our animal friends and the boy, are definitely friends. They're on a journey together. They look out for each other. They encourage each other. And of course, they spend the whole book together. But what does friendship mean to you? My goal in today's presentation is to help you to be more aware of your friends and to encourage you to bring more friendship into the world. But I would suggest we can only do that if you have a good mental equivalent of what friendship means to you. So for those of you who are Ernest Holmes buffs, as I am, the idea of a mental equivalent runs through most of his teachings and really is the basis for effective affirmative prayer. We have to be able to understand something in order to draw it into our life. We have to be able to imagine, if you will, what that thing is in order to bring it into our life. And I have to ask you, so often, isn't it true that we know what we don't want in our lives, but somehow we're missing that ingredient of what we do want, right? So in the area of friendship, you might say to yourself, well, I know what I don't want. I have some people in my life that are anything but friends. They're controlling and they talk behind my back. And you can come up with a list of things that you would not want in a friendship. But you know what? What we believe in the science of mind is that that's just apt to, as we focus on that, bring more of that to us, more people that maybe we would rather just skip over instead of invite into our lives. So today, I'm going to invite you to develop a mental equivalent of what friendship is to you. But first of all, let's get back to our friends and some of the things in the book that holds them together as friendship. And I'll throw in some of my own criteria for friendship as well, just to get your creativity flowing. So to me, friends stick up for each other. Now, you might think of it as loyalty to them, but not necessarily their ideas. Right? We have all kinds of friends that may have crazy ideas and we love them anyway, right? They're our friends. So I show some loyalty to my friends, but not necessarily to their ideas. And so when I stick up for them, I'm sticking up for their right to express their ideas. I'm sticking up for them as people and in my relationship, my good relationship with them. But that doesn't mean that I have to agree with everything they think and say, right? So one element of friendship, anyway, I think is sticking up for our friends. The other one that's really important to me is encouraging each other, right? And you'll notice that throughout the book. Each of the four friends encourages one another to be more of themselves, to be more authentic, to take a few risks in order to see greater success. And absolutely, that's a part of friendship for me. Another one is communication, right? Shouldn't we be able to share freely and authentically with our friends? And you might think about some of your own relationships, right? Do you withhold things from your friends? Are there some things that you just wouldn't tell even your friends? If so, I would question that friendship. I would question you also being able to be a friend to them because vulnerability is right in the midst of friendship. When we're daring to be ourselves authentically and freely with other people, that can really cement a friendship. And it also leads into another factor here. I hope that we can cherish each other's, you might say, shortcomings, right? What at first might have seemed a shortcoming in one of your friends, over time, that just becomes part of who they are authentically. And it becomes charming, it becomes interesting, it becomes just fine, even if it is a value that you don't hold. It's their value and you love them for it. And last but not least, and I do want to start introducing the book. One of the things about being a friend is that you're free just to do nothing, just to be yourself, not having any agenda, but just hanging out and being fun. And Larry, doing nothing with friends is never doing nothing, is it? Asked the boy. And of course, the answer is no. Being with friends is simply good enough. You don't have to have an agenda. You don't have to be doing something. What a blessing it is just to be with our friends. But okay, it's time now to build that mental equivalent I was talking about. So I invite everyone to close your eyes. Just rest easily in your chair or on the sofa, just wherever you're most comfortable. Just rest easily and allow the busyness of your day or maybe plans for things you might do after church, just allow them to fade into the background. This is the peace that God presents to us in the stillness of our own heart. You might follow your breath just to reach inwardly to an even more peaceful and quiet place, a place where you're safe, a place where you're heard, a place where any business or struggle can be put aside and brought forth again later if it's desired. But for now, just that peaceful place in your own heart and in your own mind. And so, what I'd invite you to do is begin picturing in your own mind's eye some of the best friends you've ever had. And I ask you to do this. You can picture them, their face in your mind's eye, and just ask a few questions about each one of them. What is it that makes this person my friend? What qualities in this friendship that I have with this person are the most important to me? And so bring up in your own mind that first good buddy that you had, that first girlfriend, that first person that comes to mind as a good friend. And ask yourself, what is it about this person? And in addition, my reaction to this person, right? Because friendship's a two-way street. What is it? What quality of God or what aspect of this friendship is the most important? Is it loyalty? Is it a warmth of expression or easy communication? Is it shared interests? Is it some kind of a past history? Maybe this is a childhood friend that you've known your entire life. Just ask yourself, what about this friendship seems most important? Is it that you can authentically be yourself with this person? Share secrets. Maybe this is someone you can count on when the chips are down, right? Someone that when you're not feeling your best, you can call and be cheered up. Or someone that you know will always allow a favor for you. Maybe someone that you know would bail you out of a sticky situation or loan you some money if it was really needed. Okay, so in your mind, you've been compiling a little bit of a list of feelings that are most important about this friendship. Now, if you would, we're going to spend just a couple more minutes on this. Bring up another friend, someone different in your own mind. And again, ask these series of questions and begin formulating what it is about that friendship that was so important to you. So have that face, that idea of that person, that other friend in your mind, and ask yourself, what is it about this relationship that's so important? What makes it a friendship? Is it that shared past? Is it that feeling of loyalty? Is it the ability to share freely and authentically? Is it just the ability to be easygoing and hang out with this person? So begin formulating once again your list of qualities about this friendship. Is it the freedom to be yourself? Is it the encouragement that you get from this person or that you offer this person? What is friendship to you? All right, let's do this one more time if you're willing. In your mind's eye, pull up a third friend, maybe someone you haven't seen in a long time, maybe a friend from your childhood or from school days. Bring this person to mind. And if you can, once again, ask the questions. What is it that made this friendship so special? If it was a childhood friend, maybe it's that shared innocence as the two of you grew up together and learned about the world. Just notice what's important about this particular friendship. What made it special? What made you special in it? Okay, you can open your eyes. Thanks for playing along with my little mental equivalent game. The reason we're doing this, you'll find out at the end of the talk. I'm going to lead us in a science of mind treatment, one of our affirmative prayers around friendship. And now you know what we're going to be praying about, right? You have an idea of what friendship is to you. The next thing I want to talk about today is the idea of cultivating friendships. Have you ever really thought about how we go about this idea of making new friends or keeping the friends that we have even closer to us? Have you thought about that in a while? Remember back when you were just a kid? If you were like me, I remember when mom sent me off for the first day of school in first grade and second grade and so on. She was always like, make some new friends today. And I love that idea. Could you just set your intention for making a new friend today? I think you could. I mean, it sounds childish, but what a better way to be childish. What if you could just approach people much in the way you did in first grade and just say, hi, I'd like to be your friend. Okay, now I have to admit, I'm not suggesting you rush out and do that, right? As adults, we're not given that kind of freedom just to ask for friendship. But you can make a friend almost anywhere. I'll give you a couple examples. One of the things that I like to do is to try to draw people out a bit in order to see if someone is likely to be a friend of mine, right? So when I'm talking on the phone, I try to make my conversations, even with maybe people who are selling me things, or people who have called about tradespeople, right? Asking about repairs and things like that. I'll always ask, how is your day going? Must be interesting to be on the phone all day, I'll say. Or whereabouts are you? What's it like where you are today? To show a personal interest, and you'll start seeing, you can feel the warmth in the conversation. You'll suddenly notice that you're talking to someone in a way that kind of warms the room up, that warms the sense of being with someone up. It's quite delightful. And you can cause that to happen just by what? Showing an interest in someone else, even if it's someone else that you're not seeing just on the phone, or maybe you're in a grocery store talking to someone in the checkout line, right? Someone that you don't know at all, but all it takes is a few gentle, interactive kinds of questions that aren't answered yes or no, right? Questions like, what's it like for you to be, list their profession? It must be difficult to be a checker, right? Whatever it might be, it's delightful, and you will be seen as being delightful. I'll use another example. For many years, for the telephone company, I was doing systems project management. And so I would fly out on Sunday night and then fly back into the Portland International Airport on Friday night. So I'd be gone like all week. And I would usually get in late. And so one of the things I always had to do was retrieve my car, either drop it off or retrieve it. And it was funny because I would always very often end up in one of the lines where I would be paying for my weekly parking with this same attendant. And oh my gosh, she looked like the Grinch a little bit, right? She had one of those scowly kind of faces, and she just looked like she was unhappy. And I have to say, if I was stuck in a little toll booth late at night at Portland International Airport, I might be kind of grumpy too. It's certainly not my idea of a wonderful job, but I'm sure it was serving its purpose with her. And I made it my point to see if I could make friends with her because I saw her almost every week. And so, first of all, I started noticing about things about her that honestly I could give a compliment around. So I remember one time she had these kind of unusual earrings, and I said, "What unusual earrings you have? Did you make them?" Because I thought maybe she had. And she did, and her face lit up, and we talked about jewelry making. And well, luckily it was late at night, and no one was behind me waiting to check their car out. But it was through little things like that. And after making a few comments a few weeks in a row, it got so when I got in her line and got up to her, she would be beaming and happy. I had 5 minutes at a time over many weeks made a friend. So I tell you, it can be done anywhere. It can be done easily. All it takes is you to show a little interest in the people around you. Okay, so back to the book again. We've talked a little bit now about cultivating friendships. You can do that wherever you are. It's just being simply kind to other people. How can you let other people know that you're their friend? How can you increase the happiness level, or make sure that the people around you know that your friendship is authentic? So the mole is finding it difficult to express his feelings to his comrades.
Sometimes I want to say, I love you all, but I find it difficult.
Do you?
Yes, so I say something like, I'm glad we're all here.
Okay.
I'm glad we're all here.
We're so glad you're here too.
Have you thought about how to communicate to those around you to let them know that you love them? Now, certainly, I wasn't going to tell the woman in the toll booth that I loved her, right? Not appropriate. There are all kinds of friends that you have that using the phrase "I love you" are just probably not appropriate, and that makes good sense. But nonetheless, we do want to convey that message of love, that message of friendship. And the mole here has, I think, a great way of doing it that I would recommend. So he says something like, I'm glad we are all here. Do you see how easy that would be to translate that for my toll booth woman? I'm so happy to see you every Friday night. I'm so glad that we get to spend just this few minutes of time together every week. Have you thought about other ways that you might tell people that you care for them, that you love them? It's really so easy. You don't have to say I love you. In fact, let me use an example in my own life. So, one of Reverend Larry and my dear friends, Reverend Catherine Bonin, she and I have been prayer partners for over 15 years. And when we first started out, it was an assignment in ministerial school, right? It's like I didn't really have a choice who I was going to pick. And so Reverend Catherine and I were prayer partners. Well, as somewhat strangers, we knew a little bit about each other, of course, from ministerial school. For a while, it was just trading prayer requests, pretty much. You know, what should I pray for you? And then you tell me what you'd like me to pray for, and so on. And, we would throw in a little bit about what was going on, but often our prayer calls would be 15 minutes long, right? We're just acting as a support mechanism for each other. Well, it didn't take too long where even though it was unstated, we had become friends. And so back to our list of what makes a good friend, we started sharing more freely and authentically. And we started including some encouragement around what was going on in our lives. We started doing that loyalty thing, right? You're my prayer partner, and I stick up for you. And then before too long, we started doing the sorts of things that the mole would suggest, right? We would say, what a blessing you are in my life. Or we would say something like, your prayer last week meant the world to me, right? Am I not saying, I love you, just using different words? And so, what I would like to do, if you're willing, as we end our talk for this Sunday, and before I lead you in a prayer, um, I would like us to try out for size different ways that we can tell people that we love them. And so, if you're willing, let's try this out loud. I know this seems weird on Zoom, right? I'm going to say something, and then I'd like you to repeat it back and feel for the authenticity in it. See if it would be true for you if you said this to a friend or an acquaintance. So let's start with the one that the mole suggested, right? So remember, I'll say it once, and then I'll say it again. And the second time, you say it with me. All right, the first one, I'm glad we are all here. Now you with me together. I'm glad we are all here. Now let's try the one with my toll booth friend. I'm so glad we're here together. I'm so glad we're here together. Let's try one that we might use with, I don't know, a stranger out at the grocery store or something like that. What a pleasure it is to be here today with everybody. What a pleasure it is to be here today with everybody. And let's try one maybe with our circle of friends. Just short of saying "I love you" is a token of friendship like this. How wonderful it is to be here together with friends. How wonderful it is to be here together with friends. All right. Well, thank you for playing with me today. It's been my pleasure to be here as part of the series that we're studying: the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. Always my pleasure to fill in for Reverend Larry so she can get a day or two off. Right. All right. Well, I'm going to close with a prayer of friendship today. And I want you to bring back into your mind that idea, the mental equivalent of what friendship is to you. So let us pray. There is one mind, one heart, just this one thing that I call God or Spirit. And what I know about it is the largest container of love in the universe. Love freely given, love freely accepted, love and only love. That love that can disperse anything unlike itself. That love that is the most powerful quality of God itself. And so today I accept it for myself. I know that I am love. I know that I am loved, and I know that I am lovable. What a pleasure it is to be here on the planet, giving and receiving love through friendship, through the people that I meet on the street, through the people I contact on the telephone. What a pleasure it is to bring friendship into this world and to nurture it. And as it is true for me, I know it is true for everyone. I know it can be true for everyone, that each one of us has that ability to seek out and make wonderful friendships and to deepen the friendships that we already have. And how do we do this? It's through that mental equivalent. So each one of us in our own mind's eye, think of that ideal friend. Think of those qualities that we discovered, whether it be loyalty or the ability to share freely, the idea of encouraging one another and just spending time together doing nothing. This is friendship. And so for each one of us, I know that we give it and we receive it. We're here for it. We cultivate it. We do what is necessary and what is pleasant just to make new friends with our hands and our hearts extended in freedom. What a blessing it is. And so in gratitude, I simply affirm that there is good for me, there is friendship for me, there is life for me, and I shall have it. So I release this prayer into the activity, into that action of the law itself. I let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll look forward to being with you again in the future. Bye for now.
I just adore Rev Larry's sweet nature that shows up in his talks. And I'm sure that you enjoyed that mental equivalent exercise. Now you know how to do it with anything that you want to manifest. You'll see Rev Larry again in the series when we get to the topic on trust, and I know you're looking forward to that. And since Rev Larry did such a beautiful prayer, let me just take this time to remind you of our affirmation for the week. Here it is. How is it I so willingly and effortlessly discover what qualities I see as important in friendships? And I'm more authentically myself with friends and let my friends know I love them. And your challenge this week is to make a new friend. And in some way, to tell your existing friends that you love them. I want to let you know how glad I am that we're together. And also so very grateful for all the contributions that are helping us to continue to have the special music like today and our special events. Enjoy our offertory song.